Hey everybody, what's up? This is Devin LaVore and
LaVore
coming at ya. And man, do we have some stuff to share. And take it over, Michelle, because
so
it's just too much,
Yeah.
It's just too much.
It's been kind of interesting. We actually this week alone we've made 2 videos, rather long videos, that we just felt like God was like, no. Like once we got it to the editing process, it was like you can't release those, and it was like, okay, God.
You could have told us this before.
But maybe it's just for us. We'll have
a
those
lot of times
videos.
it is. It's good to like get it out and flesh it out and process it out.
Yeah.
God's smart. He knows what he's doing. He's never made a mistake. So.
Yeah. So, but then last night, it was just like, okay, Lord, where are we at? And I felt like he really just showed me a lot of things, and I got them all on my handy little
Here, wait, hold on. Let's hold that up. That's like, let's hold that up. That's like a ton of stuff, and that's like the nuggets.
Yeah, these are
right?
like
that's
the
just
little
like
Cliff Notes version. But I just wanted to share with just like the pictures that God has been given us, and specifically God, since we've been here, I went back through our journals, and I felt like it was just like last night, God was like, okay, you need to like take time to go back over things, because so much of the time it's like we're just like every day it's like, okay, Lord, what is for today? What is today? We're moving forward. But sometimes it's like you gotta look, it's like you almost have to get that bird's eye view of like, what is going on? What has God been speaking? What has he been saying over the last couple of weeks, over the last month, over the last year of your life? And so I just decided, okay, well, I'm going to just look since we got here, since we arrived, what has God been...
In Nashville.
Yeah, arrived in
Nashville. For
Nashville.
those of you who don't know,
yes.
And maybe this is your first video checking out these LaVores.
Yes, so
what a weird last name.
We're here in Nashville. We just got here really about 2 weeks ago. On December 18th was our first, we stepped foot in our
hotel at 8:44 p.m.
Yeah, and since then it's just been, we're continuing to journey with God, and I just felt like God, I was looking back over, and he's been speaking a lot to the picture of birth. Now, back in near the end of October, we were getting a lot of imagery and pictures of birth, and there was just so much going on with our hearts and in the spirit, and it was very much just like God was speaking birth, like birthing pains and all of that. And then so we had 2 births at that time. Basically it was like the heart story birth and the spiritual birth, and for those that don't know, it's like we really feel like God, we feel like there's like always 3 stories going on with God. There's like things that he's working on in us and just developing character-wise in all of us. Then there's also just what is going on in the spiritual realm around us. Right. God is always working and moving and doing things in the spirit for his church, for the body. But then there's also this 3rd story of where we feel like it's just like like the manifestation, like tangible things that God is doing in someone's life. Mm-hmm. And so God really showed us that back in November. He was like, hey, there's 3. It's 3. And he was showing us that pattern of like, there's 3 births? Yeah, there's 3 births.
Yeah, because I was wondering, and I was like, man, I don't understand this, but I feel like there's like a 3rd birth.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, does this mean we're going to have to do a 3rd Jordan and a 3rd Jericho? And I was like, whatever, okay, whatever,
And so, basically, I feel like God is like, again, speaking the birthing process. And for us personally, like an actual manifestation is when we left Kansas City to come here, it equated to the water breaking for us. Mm-hmm. Like if you were going to have a baby, it's like your water breaks and you're like, okay, it's coming, this baby's coming. Now, the baby is the promises that God has given us. Mm-hmm. And that's, and this whole time he's talking about birthing, like release the baby. He's going to deliver us the things that he's promised.
Okay, so can I interrupt real quick? So this is the deal. There's like, because you're talking about the 3 stories.
Yeah.
Well, the thing of it is, the context of what we're sharing today has to do with the 3rd story, which is the manifestation story that we're in. The very story that you're always longing for when you hear your first prophetic word. You're like, ooh, when is that going to happen? Next week? Next month? Man, it's been a year. Okay, you know what I mean? For me, some of the things that God's saying, it is manifestation story time of some things that God's given me, gosh.
Decades.
Like almost decades ago. Or some of these things have been with me for like 20 years, 18 years, 15 years. And it's just like, wow, okay. I mean, I remember when I was, how old was I? I was sort of like 24 years old. I mean, I just come to know the Lord not too long. I hadn't known the Lord very long. And he told me then that I was going to be, basically, he gave me the number 36. Like, even back then, oh my gosh, that's just hitting me right now. He even gave it to me back then, because that was the only thing he said to me. And I just remember he was like 36.
For what?
And I knew right then that, like, that's when I was going to get married. I knew it. And I rebuked it. I was like, in the name of Jesus, I bind you, Satan. You know? Because I wanted to get married right then. I was super like that. I was like, 36? You know what I mean? To a 24, 25-year-old, that is like eons in the future. Way, 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 way in the future. You know, I'm about ready to be 46 here in a minute. Yeah. But it was like, I was like, no way. And sure enough, I was, you know, so that was like 11 years. Yeah. You know, so it's like a lot of times that God will give us a word and we're expecting that manifestation soon and we will endure and endure and endure and endure and endure, but it's still a long wait before that thing's going to come. And God being good, he'll let you know, like, no, not now, no, not now, no, not now. But that's the exact opposite of what he's saying right now. Yeah. What he was saying through all of 2017, and especially what he's saying right now, because you've got your heart story and the things that are moving in the spirit to prepare for the manifestation of what's going to happen in the earth, like a tangible, actual, like, wow, I have this wife right here. Yes. You know, I have the house right in my hand. I have the life that God's promised me, or whatever it is you're believing for, it's right here. I'm experiencing it. I'm touching it. Yeah. That's the manifestation story. Yeah. That's what we're in right now. We're in story 3, the final story. Yeah. Which is really just the end of one thing is the beginning of another one. So yeah. Because it really is a very... God's in the book series. It's cyclical? Yes. Is that the word you're looking for? It goes in a circle. It's in a circle. It's round, man. And keeps going. Yeah, it's a covenant. That's what it really is. Anyway.
And so I was looking back over and it was like there was, God was just speaking about birth again. On the 22nd, Devin had a dream. I think we made a video about it of the...
I don't know if we released that. You might want to just recap.
Okay, so quick recap. Devin had a dream about him holding, it was like a little chihuahua, and it gave birth to...
It was a full-grown chihuahua, but full-grown chihuahuas like that big, you know?
They're tiny. And it gave birth to 2 German Shepherd puppies. And so,
but they were like already like the size of like 10-week-old puppies. You know?
And so it was this idea of this promise, because in a previous dream there was also, it was like the puppy, and it was a puppy when we were here back in April.
And in April I had a dream about a puppy. Yeah. And a lion, my son.
And that back then it represented the promise, the blessing. And
that we were expecting
to get then.
Kind of like what Christian Pierre said. He was like, you went before expecting this, and now God's sending you back again. And you're like, well, I already failed there. You know, how's that going to... And it's like, but this time you're going to have success. Yeah. You know, and like Kelly Elaine or something like that, she said, this time it's going to be different. We used those 2 words, and we felt like God was like saying, yes, that is for you. It's going to be different this time. This time you're going to have success. Yeah. And so that kind of fits in with the dream that you're talking about.
So in this dream, I felt like it was like, whoa, like this has come to maturity, and it's going to give birth. And it's not just a single birth, it's a double birth, one right on top of the other. And that's how the dream happened.
That's how it happened in the dream. They were in a box, and they just, I picked up the Chihuahua, and when I picked up the Chihuahua, the German Shepherd just kind of slid out. And I was like, oh, okay. And then another one I'm holding the chihuahua up like this, and then another one just comes like, bam, right on top of it. And I was completely shocked.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
We heard a prophetic word last night about things manifesting this year that are just going to be completely shocking and totally like, whoa. And that's kind of like what that dream was.
Yeah. And so, again, it was like this birthing. So it's just this whole time God's been speaking about birth. And so I was kind of going through just thinking about what is the birthing process like. You can at least...
You mean the whole time that we've been here?
Yes, the whole time. Like just that we've been here. Like,
oh, yes, since we've been here.
The natural birthing process.
Sorry, I get lost sometimes in the shuffle.
So, like, particularly, like, I've had my water break twice with kids. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But in this particular process, we were going off of what it was like for me with Isaiah, who has been a sign of the promise. And so it's
prophesied before he was, before he was born. Honestly, before he was even conceived.
Yeah.
Because God was like, you guys need to have a baby. I'm like, no, we don't. We got 3, man. We're going crazy. We need to have another one? We can't afford the 3 we got. He's like, yes, you can. Anyway.
So it's like your water breaks, and for us that was coming here. And
when we left Kansas City on the 17th. December 17th.
And typically for me, like if my water breaks, I still have time. Like I haven't started contractions right away. And so I felt like that was kind of like the first few days that we were here. It was like, okay, we got here, but nothing like super intense. It was just like, okay, there's this transition going on. And
just the getting here was intense enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? It was just a long ride.
And then we landed here, and then, but on the 21st, we really felt like there was a shift again. And it was just like, okay, there's this like labor that's beginning. And, but we didn't recognize that at the time. So I'm saying this as from yesterday when I was going back through and really just looking at everything, and it was like, oh, that's what's been going on. And
you lost him. Isaiah's here now. You lost him. They're gone.
Like, what? Am I not being clear? I don't know. But there he is.
There he is.
This is Crispy, everybody. Crispy Bear.
Tonight we hear the story of Crispy Bear. Okay, oh my gosh. Go ahead, babe. Keep going.
All right. So,
we're going to turn this into a kid video.
Yes. So talking about birth.
Yeah.
Giving birth. And so it's like there's this, when you give birth, there's always this process. So, and there's this time of what's called transition, where it's like your body itself is very unstable. And you're just kind of like, whoa, what's going on? Some women you can end up throwing up, or just like you could pass out. Like there's all sorts of things that happen during that time because your body is transitioning basically into the final ending of the labor process.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we got here, it was like, okay, the water broke, but we were kind of in this transition place of like we were here and then we had to go stay somewhere else, and then but when we got back here, we both really felt like something was different. And it was almost as if, okay, we've stabilized, and now we're just in that final ending of like, okay, this is just the very intense labor process until you give birth. Basically, like on the 28th of December, we really felt like there was just this kind of like a movement, like, all right, we need to do something, move on when it comes to the house. And so the 29th is when we first met with the realtor and just talked to him, shared our story. We felt like we just had it was just a good connection that was being made.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, we're also like, we really feel like God's been saying we were birthing, like the promise being like the birth of the house. And back on October 31st, Devin saw it was like a picture of a house like in a womb. And so it's always been like, okay, like this is the thing we're birthing. And so it felt like there was like this movement. And again, yesterday, we felt again like, okay, there's like a movement on the house again. We spoke to the realtor, and just kind of he was checking up on us of like, hey, where are things at? What's the thing? We're like, well, we're here still, and we're listening and praying to God, and so we'll let you know if anything's happening.
We are doing our absolute best to update you guys because there's so much we're leaving out.
Yeah.
We're leaving out entire episodes worth of information. We just can't get it in. Like we said in our last video, like we've been in such a place of deep prayer, and we tried to do a video twice yesterday, and the Lord was like, no, don't do it. And it was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, well, and it's been pretty intense. Yeah. In the birthing context.
Yeah. And but on the December 28th, Devin was it almost felt like looking back, like, okay, if you were in the process of labor, it's like you've reached to the 10 centimeters. It's like, okay, the door is open for this baby to be born. Things are already like, you're fully dilated, you are ready to give birth, and you can start pushing.
Well, and that's interesting because it was on the 3rd that I was reading Revelation. We were reading Revelation in the morning to our kids, and it said, it was Revelation 19. Yeah. I forget what verse it is, but it says, and then I looked up, and heaven stood open. There was a door that stood open, and that really jumped out at me. And I was like, whoa, the door standing open. And I think it was about that time the phone started ringing. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And we were like, I'm ignoring it. It's God time, I'm ignoring that for now. And I'm just like, but then it went to a voicemail, and it's like that voicemail is just going to keep chiming until you either ignore it or check it or, get off the screen or whatever. So I went and checked it, and it was the realtor. Yeah. And I was like, are you serious right now? I was like, he was calling to check up on us. Amazing guy. Amazing guy. And I was like, wow, this is a sign. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, we're not trying to make anything happen here. We just know what we want to see happen. We know what God's promised us. And our position is, Lord, may it be done unto us according to your word. Yeah. And his position is, may it be done unto you according to your faith. Yes. I hear you, and my answer is yes. So we're like, okay, this promise has to be born. Yeah. Isaiah 66:9. Shall I bring to the moment of birth and not cause to bring forth? Yeah. Shall I, the Lord who, who causes to birth, like shut up the womb? Yeah. It's like, oh, you're so close, Oh, I'm going to shut it up. I know it wasn't what you thought it was going to be. I know this wasn't. No, God's not going to do that, you know?
Yeah. And so it's like...
You're talking about the open door.
Yeah, so it's like just the opening, like, hey, things... It's basically, there's nothing left for your body to do apart from pushing the baby out. And that can take time. And then on the January 2nd, it definitely felt... There just felt like there was this, like, kind of... death, like you can't, it's like, wow, Lord, it just can't go on. It was a very difficult day.
It seemed like all this great momentum and revelation and all this stuff.
And then it just kind of was...
just cut off. And then that day, I just kept getting the numbers 535. Yeah. I kept seeing 535 everywhere. Now, I know we read some comments lately, and people have some issues with the prophetic numbers, but it's undeniable for us. Yeah. It is a very real thing that God's been using.
And he's definitely been using
different things that he uses to communicate.
As a tool for just encouragement and confirmation and just like, hey, this is what I'm speaking to you.
Even the numbers thing is a by faith thing. Yeah. You believe, like, okay, and then God either clarifies it or he says, dude, no, this is not right. He's been clarifying it like crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's a clear tool that he uses. And that was Mark 5:35, right? Yes. Which I kept seeing 5:35.
Yeah, so we went and looked up Mark 5:35, and it talks about, it's with Jairus.
Jairus' daughter,
when he's coming to Jesus, but the particular verse, the verse 35, is
says.
yeah.
What is it? Oh, while he was still speaking, there came some from the ruler's house, Jairus, who said to Jairus, "Your daughter has died. Why bother and distress the teacher any further?"
And it was just like this sense of like, why bother God about the promises? Like, just,
We've asked him 100,000 times.
You've been here. Things are pretty much dead. Like, you're just doing, and it was that sense of like, man, like what is going on? But it also reminded me of when you're in childbirth, there usually comes a time, or maybe multiple times, where you're just like, I can't do this anymore. Oh my gosh, this is like, wow, I'm so exhausted. I'm tired. I know it definitely happened for me with him. Like, I had hardly any sleep. I literally slept maybe like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And
so that's another thing that makes him so different, because with the other three, you didn't have time to get to that place.
No, I didn't.
I mean, we're talking about 2.5, 3 hour from water breaking to delivering of a baby.
Yeah.
You know?
And it was just like,
I'm gonna put you
wow,
back down,
I'm just so exhausted. But it's like, you're exhausted, but you're still going to give birth to a baby. It's still coming. And so that's, God's really just been speaking that, is that we are in the birthing process of the manifestation, the actual, like, tangible things of God are happening.
And it's going to be a double.
And it's going to be a double, which has been prophesied. People have been talking about like the double, like a double blessing, double for your trouble, I think is what Lana Vosser had talked about.
Other people have even said triple.
And so, that's just something that we have been, praying and declaring. And he's not happy. So we're basically just really in the end. I know it's like, and that's really something God has been speaking a lot, is since we've been here. Really, like on Christmas Eve, he started speaking about the end. He said, "Release the baby." Dun dun dun. The end. Like that's the end. And then
we made a video about it.
We did.
Watch it.
And then on the 28th, the 29th, the 31st, even today, like God has been speaking the end. And it really is like when you get to even 8-9 centimeters, like, okay, you are nearing the end of this labor. You are so close to finishing. You get to 10 centimeters, like, oh my gosh, you were so close, and
didn't the Lord tell you that?
Yeah.
Didn't the Lord tell you that one time? When was that? You woke up one morning and he was like, "You're so close."
Yes.
And you were like, "Oh man."
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, nothing's gonna happen today. It's like, that's not true.
I forget which day it was, but
something's gonna happen.
It was a bad day. I think we made a video about that one too. But some of the other things that God has been speaking a lot to us about is talking about like the mega faith, mega fulfillment. Like, this is going to be really big. I think that's why, even with like the last video we made about why prophecy, well, it's because he's doing something really big. If you listen to really just almost anybody else that's been prophesying or speaking that have, we just listened to a Rick Joyner thing just the other day, and he was talking about God is doing something really big.
That was yesterday.
Yesterday. Was that really yesterday?
That was yesterday.
Your
Afternoon.
days, I feel like they become like, oh, that was last week. But anyway.
It really does feel like that.
And so it's like God is doing something really big, and we really are at the end. There's this like, just like a push. We're really in that pushing phase of things. I can't tell you how long it's going to last. This is God's birth and delivery, not not human.
Yeah.
But It's like
But that Isaiah 66:9 comforts me because he's
it really does, because God is going to do what he said he's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving birth to promises in people's lives, and he is going to do that. He is going to bring the fulfillment of it. And again, he was talking to me also, reminded me
for something mega.
he was reminding me of the healing and the revealing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because it was like, after you give birth, your body then heals from the birth.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt like God was sharing with me, is like, there's going to be healing. Once this baby, once the promises are birthed, there's going to be some amazing healing. And it's just like, I think we really, honestly, I don't think we'll be able to we can't comprehend what it's going to do for believers' hearts. You know, it's going to be like it was with the disciples. When Jesus rose again and came, and he was among them, and he's revealing himself to them, it did something to their hearts that it was just like, wow, you are God. This is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, everything you've said is true.
Everything.
Yeah. And I feel like what God is doing is going to do that for people's hearts. And it's just going to be incredible, which is where it goes back into the cycle, you know, of the 3 different stories. Because when God fulfills promises, it does something to our hearts, you know, in this heart story.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's done this great work in our hearts, things are changing in the spirit. Because now,
of how we're acting and how we're living,
exactly,
and what we're saying,
and what we're confessing and saying before the Lord. Yeah.
Yeah, the testimony is going to be very high of God's goodness and his greatness.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like, you actually did it.
Yeah.
Like, you did it. You did it. You did it. You did it. You know, kind of like in Miss Doubtfire, when she finds out that Robin Williams' character is actually Miss Doubtfire. It's like, you knew the whole time. You knew the whole time. You knew the whole time. You knew the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, remember that? It's going to be kind of like that. Like, whoa, you did it. Whoa, you did it. Oh my gosh, you did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to be just like,
wow.
Whoa, dude. Like, this is like too much.
Yeah.
I thought I had my own idea of what Ephesians 3:20 would look like. This is crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already celebrating the victory. I'm already celebrating the answer. And I'm already, she knows.
Yes.
I'm like already like, this is amazing. I don't have nothing. I don't got no title. I don't got no keys.
Yeah.
You know? I could tell you some other things that be like, there's no need to list what's going on in the circumstances. God, I tell you what, God has been sustaining us.
Yes.
In ways that are just like, wow, there's no way. We didn't even ask for anything. And stuff came in for us. We're like, Lord, we're going to need to stay here. Or we're going to need something. Boom, something would just come in. I'm just like, wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But what God's getting ready to do is it's going to go to a whole nother level of like, wow, this is amazing.
Yes. Yeah. And something else, I guess, that we wanted to share and talk about is the God's been speaking a lot about Abraham and Isaac and going to
SHELLY L really inspired us to share this again.
Yeah, because
we don't know if we shared it and released it or we just shared it and God was like, put that away for a minute.
We can't really totally
we can't remember.
But yeah, so go definitely check out Shelly's video. It's awesome. She just released it today about talking about the ram and God's provision. And that was really something God started speaking on the 29th. There was this vision of Jesus coming, that we were up on the mountain, Mount Moriah, and we were just up there waiting. But then in your vision, Jesus was coming up on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah, it was completely dark.
And he was getting
there
ready.
Was a spot. He was the only one that was. It was like there was a light shining on him, but you couldn't see the light that was shining on him. So it was like he was the light.
Yeah.
And you could just see him coming up the side of the mountain.
And basically, the vision is like all of a sudden he just breaks through the darkness. He's like, "Hey guys, I'm here."
Because there was like a light shining on our little, kind of like what a campfire might do. It creates kind of like a a realm of light. But outside of that is darkness. And so there's a plane of light and dark, and he just steps out and he's like, hey guys.
Yeah.
And it's just like, whoa, you're here. Surprise. This is a surprise,
Yeah.
Well, and it's a fulfillment of a prophetic word. Because back in, like, when I was like, I did a video talking about God setting you up. And it was based on this Taryn Wells song, Hills and Valleys. And I just felt like God started ministering to me through that and saying, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to scoop you up, your family, the tree that is your family. I'm scooping you up out of this cave, and I'm going to set you on the mountain. Because he's like, on the mountain I will bow my life to the one who set me there. And that really stuck out to me. And then the Lord was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scoop you up, and I'm going to set you on the mountain. And that's literally the first thing that he's done. As we've left there to come here, we're on this mountain that he set us on. The mountain. And the mountain means a lot of different things for us. But yeah, it's like, this is like, us being here is literally a fulfillment of that word. Yeah. And now it's like, okay, Lord, we're up here. And so we have the same questions that Isaac had. It's like, Father, we've got the wood, we've got everything we need, but we don't have the burnt offering. Yeah. And what did Abraham say? Abraham said, the Lord will provide for us the burnt offering. Nope, that's not what he said. He said God will provide for himself the burnt offering. Yes. And so, can I talk about what I got this morning? That part? Okay, so, because that ties into, the Lord was like saying, like, I'm with you. Because we have financial needs. We always have, you always have financial needs until you get your breakthrough. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, I'm like, but I wasn't like bummed out by it at all or anything by our needs. Because I'm thinking like, wow, like, Lord, you've really sustained us through all of this. Like, and there was so much that goes into that I could say, but I just felt like the Lord was like, I'm here with you. This is me. I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm here with you. And because I'm here with you and I'm staying here with you, I'm going to provide for myself. Yes. To stay here with you. This is where I want you to be. Yeah. That I'm going to provide for myself for you to stay here. Yeah. Or I'm going to lead you somewhere else or whatever. But it doesn't matter where we're staying or what's going on. God's like, I'm with you. So since you're with me, you have provision. And that's what he was saying about himself coming up the side of the mountain. Yes. Was just like, he is going to be the provision. Yeah. He's the one that's going to stay. Because see, we're always expecting something else. But like in that vision I had with the lawyer's office, I thought it was going to be a lawyer, a middleman, but it was Jesus himself that came in. Yeah. So it's like, God's going to come up or there's going to be this provision, right, on the Mount Moriah, but it's actually Jesus that steps out. He's like, here I am. He's like, I am and of course that ram caught in the thicket really is a symbol of Jesus himself, who will be crucified later on, after that. So
and was.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just thought that was really cool that the Lord was like, I'm going to provide for myself, but naturally that means he's going to provide for us. Yeah. And it's like, it's awesome, because why is that awesome? Because it can put you, when you know that, and that revelation is in your heart, we're going to have to go get him soon. Yeah. Because he is winning the battle right now. But when you know that, it's like you can have peace no matter what's going on. Yeah. No matter what's going on or what doesn't seem to be happening or whatever, it's just like, if you know, like, you are right where I have you, then the provision that you receive is going to be from me, and I am going to be that provision. Yeah. And something else that also ties into that vision of Jesus coming and being the provision is we talked also about, because there was one day we got 35-35 and 29-29 all at the same time, and that literally is like a 40-minute video we did on that. And God was like, nah, hold that off for a little bit. And I was like, okay, cool. But the bottom line, one of the things that came out of that was just like departing the mountain. God's like, it's time to depart, which tied into it's the end. Yeah. And I'm like, it's time to depart. Why are we getting departure again? This doesn't make any sense. We should take comfort in things not making sense that we feel are from the Lord, because we can be sure it's from the Lord. Because it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But anyway.
kind of like when you have opposition, when you're believing for something. It's like, well, this must be the Lord, because the enemy isn't going to attack that much if it wasn't.
Well, and the truth of the matter is the peace of God in you is the only confirmation you really need.
Yeah.
You know, God gives you gifts of confirmation by someone else saying the same thing, a prophetic number or a commercial or a picture or a billboard or something like that. Those are actually gifts from God. They really are. I mean, you can reject the gifts if you want. That's fine. Because really all you do need is the peace of God. If you have the peace of God on it, that's it. It's a done deal. And so we were talking about Moses and how and Elijah and how God does a temporary thing with people that he truly, truly delights in. You're one of them and you know it.
Yeah.
He takes them up on a mountain for a certain period of time to develop a deep intimacy with them and brood over them and just really just pour his heart into them. Jesus was doing that with his disciples in John 13, 14, 15, and 16 and 17. It was not a ministry thing. And nothing. It was almost like a come up to the mountaintop type of thing. Yeah. But for them, it was a garden of Gethsemane. Yeah. Garden. We don't even want to get there. That's a whole other can. Lord, help me. Help me not to go there. But anyway, these places, God takes us to these special places where it's like nothing is happening.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing happening. That's exactly what he did with the Israelites when he brought them out of Egypt. He brought them to the mountain to reveal himself and have a special time of bonding with. Because when you give birth to something, you immediately need to bond with that baby. I don't know much about that with the American way we do. And we had a home birth, so it was really awesome. It was like Isaiah came out and bam, he went like right there. Well, not right there, he went right there. Yeah. But anyway. And so God does that. He wants to bond with his people before he releases the blessing and the promise and all that stuff that he has already planned. Yeah. He's already determined to fulfill the desire of your heart, but he wants to bond with you and draw closer to you. And it's go ahead.
Well, because we actually were watching Superbook with the kids, and something, it was like God had given Moses the law. They were at the, bonding with him. And it was after that, after they received the 10 Commandments, it was like, all right, now let's go to the land of milk and honey. Let's go get your promise, basically.
Unless you're going to keep complaining. Oh, you're going to keep complaining? Never mind.
Yeah. And then they, had to go around. But even in that, think about that. Here's a group of people who complained so much that God was like, all right, I'm just going to let this generation die in the desert. But he still fulfilled his promise. He still kept it. He was like, all right, this next generation, they are going to go and inherit the land.
Some of you are inheriting next generation promises.
Why? Because it is what God wants to see happen. God is providing for himself. He provided for himself a generation to go in and inherit the land.
Yeah.
And so he is
that's deep.
And so it's like
definitely deep.
When God wants to do a thing, he's going to do it. And we just need to step in faith and believe that that's true, and that we're going to go forward and we're going to see the promises of the Lord.
Yes. So when Moses went up on the mountain to have this time with the Lord, he was given the 10 Commandments. Yes. But the thing of it is, it's like, okay, it's time for you to go down. It's time for you to depart this mountaintop experience you're having and go down. And he went down with the law in his hands. He went down with the 10 Commandments. And there was a day when God was speaking to us 1:10, 10:10, 10's like crazy. Yeah. And it relates to this whole thing, and I can't get on all that either. But it was just like, wow. And it was just like the Lord was basically saying that you're getting ready to depart this mountain, depart this thing, this life that you're living. You're getting ready to exit this ark lifestyle that you're living. But when you go down the mountain, you're going to be carrying the verdict of God, the judgments of God, the word of God, the promise of God. Basically, you're going to be carrying the fulfillment, because he's tying that vision of Moses going down the mountain with Jesus coming in to be the provision. Yeah. And Jesus is the judge. Yeah. And he's going to come. He's the one who wrote the law. He is the law in human form. Yeah. And it's like the Lord gave me a vision one time of him coming. I already made reference to it in this video about him coming into the judge's chamber, and I was like, what are you doing here? You're a judge? Of course you're a judge. Or you're a lawyer or something like that. I've talked about it before. And basically he said, yes, and I've decided to give you mercy, as he's writing these papers and flipping these papers like it's an inheritance or something like that that's being given. And I feel like that's what the Lord's saying, is like, that's what's getting ready to happen. You're getting ready to receive that. And when you receive it, it's like, okay, you're good. Let's go. Let's depart this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Let's go down the mountain. Let's go down to the land that the land surrounding the mountain. You know.
And this morning, God gave us
It wasn't
Psalm.
It wasn't gonna work.
No, Psalm
It wasn't gonna work.
75, verse 7.
Yeah, I saw 757.
And that speaks
twice in
to
10
it
minutes.
says God is judge, and He is going to.
He will lift up one and bring down another. He decides.
And again, as we're going back to, like, God has declared a judgment for those that believe Him, those that are following. He's declaring mercy over our lives. He's declaring that I'm going to lift up the humble. Mm-hmm. I mean, He says that a lot, of just like, God is the lifter of the humble. He exalts those that are humble, and going before Him, that they're seeking Him. What?
This baby. He's like, brr, 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 brr. But we saw a prophetic word yesterday of a lady that I had, and Christian Pierre said, hey, you need to listen to this prophetic word because it's really awesome for 2018. And I'll link that too if I remember, man. And but it was basically this lady. She saw people on podiums, and those podiums were rising into the sky. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is the Lord.
Yeah.
Like, yes and amen, because that's exactly what He promised us. And I mean, just so many things that she said was like, yeah. She was making reference to people who are in very opposite situations right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's basically talking about reversing. You know, and she was talking about people who can't even pay their rent right now are going to be millionaires and billionaires, and you know, not necessarily this year, that all is going to happen this year. If it did happen this year, oh, may it be done unto me according to your word. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
But it was like, I just knew it, because it was like, I just knew, like, that's something the Lord promised us. But He said it to her in just a different way, and a vision and all that. And I'm like, whoa. And you could just feel the Lord on it. It's like, whoa, this is amazing. Yeah, so it's time to get him down. So we're about done with our video anyway.
Yeah. So pretty much just like to sum up things, it's like just be really encouraged. We are at the
we're in the end.
We are in the end. We are, nearing to give birth to the promises.
One of these days we're going to be giving a video from our new house.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to be as amazed as we are. They're going to be like, dang, He really did it.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome, right?
But
that needs to happen like soon. I'm talking soon.
Yeah.
Because this motel living, it really is time to depart. You know what I mean?
But we just hope that you guys are encouraged by all that God is speaking, and that, just be encouraged.
Yeah, be encouraged. She's not good at the endings. She's like, I don't like to end or begin. I like to just get into the meat of it. But you start it off. Go ahead, you start it off, and you close it up.
Yeah.
But don't make me do those things. You know.
So, yes. We love you guys.
Can you see her struggling? She's still struggling.
No, but we love you guys, and we just really want you to be encouraged and to just stand firm on the truth of God's word, that He is going to do what He said He's going to do, and that His word does not return void.
Come on now.
It goes out and does what God has said it's going to do. And He has been declaring that He is going to fulfill promises. We are going to see dreams come true. And so
did you see her just step into something right there? She just stepped into it.
So until next time, guys,
that could be interpreted wrong, but
we just pray that you guys are blessed and have an awesome day.
Yeah.
So
thank you. Now, why you get quiet when we're trying to close the video? That's messed up. You're like, okay, let's go back to some content, babe. So, guys,
He's tired.
He's tired. That's what it is. All right, guys. See you later.
Bye.
We love you very much. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the comments. And we will come at you again. Bye-bye.